Yo, what is going on, guys? It's the one and only ProHenis, and today I am bringing another Call of Duty Infinite Warfare video over here onto my channel. Now today, guys, what we're going to be talking about are combat rigs within Infinite Warfare multiplayer. Now some of you guys may already know kind of what combat rigs are if you watched a little bit of the multiplayer reveal for Infinite Warfare, but just in case some of you guys aren't up to date on exactly what they are, or you're not exactly sure how they're going to be implemented into Infinite Warfare multiplayer, I figured I'd cover all of that here for you guys in this video. So we're going to go over everything we know about combat rigs and how they're going to relate to the game. So hopefully you guys will enjoy today's video. If you guys do, go ahead and drop a like. That would honestly mean the world to me, guys. If we could hit 100 likes, that would be insane. Make sure you guys also go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, so you do not miss a beat on anything regarding Call of Duty Infinite Warfare news. I'll be bringing you guys everything you need to know over here on my channel as we get closer to the beta, and then obviously the official release of the game on November 4th. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the action here. So there are a couple things I do want to explain to you guys about combat rigs before I get into the official overview of what each one offers. But before we do that, guys, I do want to let you know that all of the information I'm going to be reading to you guys is actually coming off of a Charlie Intel article, and I will actually have that article linked down in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and read it for yourself. So Call of Duty Infinite Warfare introduces a new combat rig system, which is 6 special characters that feature different abilities for players to use. Combat rigs offer what's called payloads and traits. Now, payloads are very similar to Call of Duty Black Ops 3's specialist weapons and abilities, in which the character gets a certain weapon or ability to use for a certain period of time. It's exactly the same as Black Ops 3 to activate. Press L1 and R1 once the meter in the bottom right has filled. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore the fact that they completely did not explain how to activate it on PC, but it's okay. It's just, most people play on console. I get it, but I'm assuming most of you guys on PC know how to go ahead and activate it. So now that we actually know what payloads and traits are, we're actually going to go over all 6 of the combat rigs within Infinite Warfare. And I'm going to have a picture up on screen to go along with each one of these combat rigs so you guys can get an idea of what each one looks like and how it's going to sort of behave in game. So the first one we're going to go over here is called FTL, and its payloads are erasers, FTL jump, traverse of space, and phase shift. And the traits are supercharge, perception, which gives the player more awareness than ever before in Call of Duty. If there's an enemy looking at you, edges of the hood will light and let you know someone is looking at you, and the power slide. So the perception trait actually sounds very similar to something that we actually saw back in Black Ops 3, which was the Sixth Sense perk, which showed on the minimap in what direction enemies were when they were around you. And to be honest with you, I'm thinking that the Sixth Sense perk may actually be more powerful than this perceptions trait, because the perceptions trait only lights up edges of the hood to let you know when someone's looking at you, not necessarily when they're around you and they may not know that you're actually there. The next specialist that we're going to go over here is called the Merc, and its payloads are a Steel Dragon, which is a weapon that helps suppress a closed combat area, a Bull Charge, and reactive armor, which I'm guessing may be very similar to kinetic armor, although that's just a guess as of this point. And the traits are Infusion, which is when your health will come back a little bit faster, very similar to some other perks that we've seen throughout Call of Duty that allow you to regain your health a little bit quicker. I believe we had something like that in Call of Duty Ghosts, but I'm blanking on the name of it as of right now. Man-at-Arms and Shockwave, which all sound really cool. Now, Shockwave could be something very similar to Heatwave, where you have to be in close proximity to enemies, and when you activate it, it sort of stuns all of them in a close proximity to you. The next combat rig that we're going to go over here is called Warfighter, and its payloads are the Claw, which is a powerful weapon, and it's a rapid spread shot weapon that takes out many enemies with ADS. Shots ricochet around, which sounds incredibly cool. And the other 2 payloads are actually, I believe, the same exact things that we actually saw in Black Ops 3 in terms of abilities. We have the Overdrive and Combat Focus, which, just because they're called the same thing doesn't necessarily mean that they perform the same way, but just because they are called the same thing, it would lead me to believe that they probably will be very similar, if not the exact same, in Infinite Warfare. And the traits for the Warfighter are Ping, Persistence, which changes the way you interact with score streaks. Instead of resetting on death, they will persist and come at an increased cost and cannot wrap score streaks and then resupply. So Ping is also something that's very similar to something that we also saw in a previous Call of Duty, which was Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, if you guys don't remember what Ping was from Call of Duty Ghosts, essentially when a player kills an enemy, the perk will ping a radar circle on the minimap where the enemy fell, which will notify the player if there are any enemies in the vicinity. It's useful when there are scenarios where there will be 2 or more enemies or a large group of enemies near the player's kill. So if we see something like that come back here into Infinite Warfare, that would obviously be incredibly cool. I just hope that it wouldn't necessarily be too overpowered. Ping definitely wasn't an overpowered perk in Call of Duty videos, so I just hope that they kind of keep it the same way here in Infinite Warfare. The next combat rig that we're going to go over here is called Striker, and its payloads are Gravity Vortex, Micro Turret, and Centurion. I'm not sure if I'm actually pronouncing that right, but the Micro Turret, I'm only guessing as of this point, may be very similar to the Scythe, which we see on the Reaper Specialist right now in Black Ops 3. And the traits for the Striker are Relay, Trophy Drone, which supports a team, the drone that's filled with flies and self-detonates and takes out any grenades. Players can get only 1 per life. So that sounds very similar, as of reading it right now, to the Hives that we have currently in Black Ops 3. Obviously a little bit different in terms of what its actual abilities are. And the last trait is called Hardened, which again, now that I'm thinking about it, may actually be very similar to Kinetic Armor that we already see here in Black Ops 3. The next combat rig is called Phantom, and its payloads are Ballistic EM3, which is a 3-shot railgun that sticks people to a wall. So that sounds really insanely overpowered, guys. I mean, it's probably still going to be a 1-shot kill, very similar to the Annihilator in Black Ops 3, but just the fact that it sticks the enemy to the wall really allows you to imagine just how powerful this weapon is. So I would imagine seeing this weapon as something, you know, using it as a collateral weapon may be really cool. You know, if you kind of shoot in a line and maybe you get a quad collateral and all the enemies stick to each other and then stick to the wall behind them, would be really cool for people who, you know, like montages or trick shotting or anything like that, which may actually, you know, be something really cool to use in game. The next 2 payloads are called Active Camo, which again was one that we saw in Black Ops 3. I forget what specialist it was for, but it basically allowed you to be invisible for a certain period of time. It allowed your exosuit that you were wearing to sort of blend in with its surroundings, and the other payload is called Pulsar. Rear Guard, which is every time you spawn you have an armored shield on your back, which is really, really cool. And the other one is called Heightened Senses, which sounds very similar to Sixth Sense, which we saw back in Black Ops 3. But I'm really curious about the trait called Marked Target. When I hear Marked Target, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Marksman perk from Modern Warfare 3. But from what I've heard, the Marksman perk is already confirmed to be coming back into Infinite Warfare, which is extremely exciting. So I'm not exactly sure if that'll be sort of an add-on for the Marksman perk. We'll just have to wait and see. And the very last combat rig that we have here is called Synaptic, and its payloads are Qualizer, Reaper, which is a lethal melee, crouches down and charges at you, and Rewind. Now Rewind sounds very similar to Rejack, which we had again in Black Ops 3, which allowed you to go down. It would still count as a death, but you could come back up, lose all your score streaks, but you wouldn't have to go back to the spawn. You could still run around and continue to get kills. And it came in really clutch, especially in a game mode like Search and Destroy, where it could allow you to die, have one of your teammates move in to get the person who just killed you, and then you could kind of allow for that pinch to happen if you could activate your rejack at the right time. So seeing something like that come back, again, it was a huge thing in the Black Ops 3 beta, so seeing it come back in Infinite Warfare, I just hope that Infinity Ward manages it in a very similar way to how Black Ops 3 did after the beta. And the 3 traits for Synaptic are called Rushdown, Propulsion, and Combat Burst, which is where you get a short burst in speed after every kill. So those are all the combat rigs within Infinite Warfare. Hopefully you guys found this interesting or helpful. It kind of gives you an overview of how these combat rigs, aka specialists as we know them, are going to work in Infinite Warfare. One of the big distinctions between specialists within Black Ops 3 and combat rigs within Infinite Warfare is that you can actually change your combat rig in Infinite Warfare mid-game, which is something that you could not do in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. As you guys know, you would choose your specialist character before the beginning of every single match, and then you had that specialist character throughout the whole match. But within Infinite Warfare, you can change your combat rig during the game, which is really cool, and it allows you to sort of adapt to sort of in-game situations. And it'll be really interesting to see how something like that plays into competitive Call of Duty, because as you guys know, the specialist draft is something that's really huge at the beginning of Call of Duty matches, where a player will decide what they want to run as for the entire game, and then it's something that they cannot change. So hopefully we'll be able to see how that all intertwines into public matches and competitive gameplay. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, go ahead and smack a like. Like I said, if we could hit 100 likes, that would be absolutely amazing, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, like I said earlier, so you do not miss a beat on anything regarding Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And if you guys watched up to this point in the video, comment down below #RIG. That'll let me know that you guys watched this entire video. Be sure to go ahead and check out the other videos on screen now if you guys have not done so already. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all. I will see you guys in the next one. Until next time, everybody, keep gaming, as always, stay cool. Adios.